Oh, thank God.
Hi, Shannon Grimm with Shannon Grimm and Partners. Today I'm here with Slavi Jordanoff and Michael Stanley. Just call him Stanley. There's too many Mikes in the world. And speaking of too many Mikes, there's Mike Beatty, who we just call Beatty.
Yeah.
And Beatty is with Howard Hanna Mortgage. And we're just going to kind of talk about some of the benefits. So we seem to be getting more and more benefits if someone is using a Howard Hanna lender and the Howard Hanna agent.
Yeah, they have a lot of great programs, a lot of great things for the consumer. So it's
stuff coming.
We do, and it all stems from, surveys that have been done across the United States in general, and 70% of the consumers want a one-stop shop experience. Mm-hmm. They want the convenience that they don't have to have the onus on themselves to go out and shop for various things like insurance, like mortgage, warranty, agents.
A lot of people are too busy, so they don't have time to get quotes and stuff, and they just want to know they're getting a good deal.
Yeah.
So, and everybody doesn't necessarily want to go with what's cheapest. They want to go with what's easiest and makes the most sense.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said about customer service, and getting things done on time and being accountable for your work. So,
you're accountable.
Absolutely. Well, that's part of being the in-house.
Beatty's in our office a few days a week, and if he ever screws anything up, which is very, very rare.
I think never.
Never. I was going to say never. But
actually, he's never screwed anything up, but things have not gone, as planned, which happens. I'd say like 90% of mortgages don't go as planned. So.
In every transaction. But he's just down the hall for us to go give him a hard time.
Yeah. But it's all about how you take care of it, and he always makes sure that our people are taken care of. So.
Yeah, but it seems that I get a hard time from some people regardless of how the transaction
This is true.
I try to.
I know.
No, but what I appreciate is you can meet people face to face. Some people just want to email, text, maybe a phone call. They want so hands off. But you will actually meet with people. We had a transaction where we met weekly to get it through, and it was difficult. But I just sent you a buyer a couple weeks ago, and you met with him last week. He came into the office to go over things, to discuss the whole process, pre-approval. And that's the great thing is you can sit down.
First-time home buyer too.
First-time home buyer, and you can meet people face to face, and that is
Anytime.
such a big deal when people are doing such a big purchase, the biggest purchase of their life, and
possibly the first time ever.
Correct, and they're confused about the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So meeting somebody in person, it doesn't only make it easier, but it probably puts their stress a lot at ease because I'll answer a lot of the questions right up front.
Otherwise you're like a faceless person on the internet, kind of. You know what I mean? If they don't actually meet you.
Transactional versus relationship driven.
Exactly.
I think that's really a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Mike. And that's one of the benefits of an in-house lender. But
but some in-house lenders just automatically assume they're getting your business, and they also don't value your clients, which are their clients, the way that you value our clients.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you.
So they just assume they're going to get it, and then we even have agents that are guilty of that in this brokerage, thinking that you're going to be like every other in-house lender that we had, 20 years ago or whatever, and won't even give you a chance because they just think you're going to not value their client, and that couldn't be further from the truth. So
I think they call those the fly strips. They just sit there and hang around and wait for the business to come back. That's one thing I'm not.
Right.
But you touch on a couple of things also about being in the in-house lending and accountability, and really though it does come to the convenience to the consumer. That's 99% of the reason why we're here. And as Shannon alluded to, when we first started talking, we've got some really cool programs that are out there for our clients that a lot of brokerages don't have. They just simply don't have the innovation
because they won't
or
be money makers.
The foresight. They're
money losers, technically.
Yeah, I guess it's a different approach. I think there's some companies that are willing to think outside of the box, even if it ends up costing them some money, if it's going to pay them dividends in return down the road.
But it's kind of weird. So I grew up on Lake Erie near Cleveland, and I always thought that Howard Hanna was a Cleveland company. And up there, it's kind of like a religion or a cult. Like, people are obsessed with Howard Hanna, and they want to work with a Howard Hanna agent. And I find that weird. It turns out they actually bought Smythe Kramer up there, which I remember Smythe Kramer when I was a kid, too. But, like, as I got older and paid more attention to real estate, it's literally, you see 9 Howard Hanna signs to one other brokerage. And it's like they're, it's a Remax or a Keller Williams or whatever. But the agents are super loyal up there. And the family is really heavily invested in Cleveland, too. And I think they're getting that way here.
Certainly are.
And they just seem to really have a consumer-first mindset.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. And so let's touch on a couple of these things. So, one thing that we're going to be releasing here shortly in the next week or so is going to be a bundled package service for our consumers who are going to benefit by using the one-stop shop. It's kind of thinking outside of the box and helping the client save money and making their lives easier. But beyond just that, think of some of the programs. You guys know some of the programs that we have that really are proprietary to us.
Yeah.
Programs
that nobody else can offer out there.
Something that you and I also touched on at 7 o'clock this morning. There are some...
That sounded naughty.
No.
Early risers, Mike.
I love Lori, so there would never be any of that. And I love my husband, too, I guess I should say.
Steve. I guess I should say. Steve's okay. Yeah, he's okay.
You need to rein her in, buddy.
But, so we were talking about how builders offer incentives if you use their in-house lender. Well, then I had a lender who I'm not particularly fond of who said that, well, that's a RESPA violation. Okay, we'll go turn them in. So I can assume, and it's not a RESPA violation, or they wouldn't do it for one. Builders don't want to open themselves up to that. And I'm sure the Howard Hanna family has made sure that this is in no way, shape, or form a RESPA violation. So for any of your competitors who may claim that, Howard Hanna is doing something wrong, it is not a RESPA violation.
No, absolutely not. And I assure you.
So they cannot claim that.
Yeah.
Because you're not forcing the consumer to use one lender.
But they still try to claim that if you say you get this by using this lender, but you can induce someone as long as it's disclosed too.
Yeah. Correct. But my whole thing is, you get something different with every lender. You're not getting some of these benefits, but some lenders have higher charges. They'll have higher loan origination charges and closing costs. So
it used to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be different with every lender. So them offering these programs, every lender has something different, and so I don't see how
lenders don't really have anything.
Understand, but I just don't understand how somebody can make that claim. It's just ridiculous.
It is, and it's not my place to even go there. I'd rather focus my energies on other things. To be completely honest with you,
your competitors can just rest easy that it's not a.
But I will say, stay tuned because we'll do another podcast in a week or so once this is all hammered out and released.
And once Stanley gets back from his second vacation, that's extended
in 2 weeks. Second vacation in 2 weeks, mind you.
Yeah, that is 2 weeks.
These are
long.
Called trips. These are called trips.
I think we call them vacations.
They're called
trips. I have young children. They're called trips.
They can be vacations with work.
Yeah.
But we'll release more of that information in the coming weeks as far as the specifics about the one-stop shop and the benefits that the clients can receive from doing that. But, if you don't mind, let's touch on, just while we have a few minutes, a couple of those programs. Yeah. We've talked about them on previous podcasts, but I always think that it's nice to keep them top of mind. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you will. So, a couple of the really good programs that we offer. For the well-qualified buyer, we have a 15% down loan with 0 PMI. There's no hit to the rate. There's no added costs. It is just designed for, I hate to put it this way, but the best of the best, if you will. That saves people so much money. It's crazy how much money that's been saving people, even year to date.
5% is a huge amount of money in some transactions. So
It really is.
Yeah.
And then our buy before you sell program. It's a lot of people know them as a bridge loan product. We call it the buy before you sell is the name of ours. And truly, it's one of the better bridge loans in the business. So a couple of those obstacles that people have when buying homes, they want to put 20% down to avoid PMI. They want to buy a house, but they have to sell their current home first. I mean, those are probably two of the biggest obstacles that we hear about in our marketplace today. And we have found ways to get around it. So those are two of my favorite programs that we have.
Nice.
Yeah. Mike and I are currently working on another obscure program that we really just started offering, and I don't think a lot of people really know about it. Should we touch on that one, Mike?
yeah, let's talk about it.
So there's a program out there for first-time buyers who are looking to purchase a home, and maybe they found a home that had been foreclosed upon and is now owned by Fannie Mae foreclosure home. So Fannie Mae has some special programs if you meet some criteria. First-time buyer, you take the first-time home buyer education class. There's going to be income restrictions, credit guidelines. But what it allows them to do is to purchase this home through Fannie Mae, and Fannie Mae will give them a credit towards their closing costs. So they can do it with a low-down loan. They can get closing costs almost covered by Fannie Mae and get into a home as a first-time buyer for really very little money out of their own pocket. So it's a really good program for Fannie Mae-owned properties. It's called the Home Path program. So you don't hear about it a lot.
It's been years since we've had to do them.
Correct. We haven't had many foreclosures,
We have
but you know what? People are getting more creative on where they're going to search for homes because there's not a lot of inventory out there right now.
There are.
right?
I was on the Fannie Mae website yesterday and looking at the map. There are a good number of the homes because not only is it you think there's not that many foreclosed homes. You're right. You're correct, but it is homes in some areas where they've been neglected, and Fannie Mae has taken possession of them and is sinking money into them. New roofs, new electrical, new HVAC, and they're revitalizing these homes and putting the money in because those are expensive things.
Yes, they are.
And they are then turning around and selling them again, and they're typically lower cost homes. That sub 200,000 mark, which is great for somebody to get into nowadays that is looking for something as their first home or just a home in general because of the costs starting to increase. So,
and I'll tell you guys, that's one of the great things about you guys and your team in general is you're always thinking outside of the box to find houses for your clients. Just like Mike did with this one, and can't say enough about that. There's a lot of agents out there, and I'm not trying to harp on any one in particular, but there's a lot of lazy agents out there that just wait for the client to find the home. Well, if Mike can guide somebody to a website or to say, hey, maybe we ought to think about looking at this house. It's a little different. We may not find it on Zillow per se, but it's available, and let's see if you're eligible to purchase this home. So kudos.
I have to give Shannon a little credit on
Kudos.
Technically, I found it first.
Well, I mean, as a group, I was giving you all credit for it in general. So
they actually wanted to see a different home, and I always tell people,
go see it.
especially the first time we go see homes, I always tell people I'm going to schedule at least one other. I like to schedule like 4 or 5 if I can.
Yeah.
And so I scheduled 4 that day, and the home that they wanted to see originally was their least favorite of the homes we saw. So it just so happened that one was the winner for them. So
yeah,
it's just funny how that works out. And Home Path, the whole process is different. But it's a little bit more of a pain than what most agents are used to. But I'm willing to deal with it. I know you are too.
Absolutely. The end goal is to get somebody in a home, and if it's a first-time buyer,
the best deal we can get.
That's where all of us align. I truly believe this, is that it's getting that first-time buyer in a house is that's so satisfying.
It is.
It's a very satisfying feeling. I think it's why we're all in the business. Right?
Yep.
Especially a young couple like we're working with their head on their shoulders. It's
absolutely.
It's insane to see someone that age trying to buy.
Young.
Yeah, buy a home. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
and they're motivated to do it. So kudos
And
to them as well.
They've done well with their credit and everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
and not like me. When I was
one of the other things I just want to touch on, and then I'll let you guys decide. Sorry, I just hit the microphone, but
it's not buzzing, so we're good.
Okay, is turn times. One of the other things about having Howard Hanna Mortgage and with Howard Hanna Real Estate is we are focused simply on your transactions. We're not out there selling to your competitors. We're not bogged down by doing loans for any brokerage out there. It is 100% for Howard Hanna transactions. So, just as an example, I had a file that was cleared to close yesterday on its 14th day. Cleared to close.
Oh, so the fact that Stanley only gave you, 20? You're good?
21.
Boy, I opened myself up for that one, didn't I?
Literally got a phone call after I said I didn't give him that. That's how long. I gave him like 38 days when I wrote it. And then I was like, oh man, 18 days have gone by since we submitted this. That's a long time.
That's all right. We'll do what we can. But, things have to fall into place. I did. I laughed. But no, certain things have to fall into place. But, the name of the game right now is speed and getting transactions done in a timely manner and not dragging it out for any party. And I'd have to say, not looking at specific statistics, but I think our average turn time is 21 days. From application
awesome.
to cleared to close. It's typically somewhere around that three week mark. So that's also a huge customer service benefit, not only to you, but your buyers. And the listing agents and the sellers, too, I should say to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Benefits everyone.
It's insane, though. And we always stress this, and we say it anytime we have a lender on the podcast, especially Mike, using a local lender benefits you in so many ways, but you have no idea how many times, even with some local lenders, but especially when they're out of state, that I hear, we're 4 days before close, and I'm, asking how things are looking, and they're like, well, we're waiting on this to get back. We're waiting on this.
If they answer the phone.
And, we haven't sent the CD out that's required to be sent out by tomorrow, and I don't think we're going to send that out. Well, why not? And they just do not get the ball rolling until the 11th hour. And they couldn't be bothered by it at all. They're like, you know what? We'll just extend. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal.
They always act
it's
like
a huge
extending
deal.
Isn't a big deal. Every lender I've ever encountered who is not a preferred lender, I might add, has always acted like they're doing the buyer a favor just by closing them. They should be happy no matter when they close. Well, they've already taken off work. They've already gotten a moving truck. They've already, got all this family lined up to help move and stuff. It is a big deal.
Huge.
And that's why we don't like to schedule closings on Fridays either, because if it doesn't close on time, you got to go that whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they just don't really care as much. And that's why you having to look us in the eye.
You've seen me pace around the office,
Yes,
haven't you? I'm a pacer. What can I say? So, no, I think closing on time is job number one.
And that's why it's appreciated. You get
We
the
still
ball
prep
rolling,
everyone.
of course, but you get the ball rolling immediately. Other lenders are like, oh, you sent your paperwork in by our deadline for your application, and we'll push that to the side. I have other files I need to deal with. We'll get that rolling later. And it's like, oh, it's 5 days before closing. I better get that going.
Yes.
Might also have to do with how our golf round goes. I mean, if you're shooting a better score than I am on the golf course, I don't know if I'm going to get on that.
Good thing you missed out on
I'm
golfing
totally
yesterday.
just kidding.
Yeah, it's a good thing I'm terrible at golf then.
And a good thing you missed yesterday, because
Yes.
that would greatly affect your transaction, apparently.
Nah, I just had to throw a little joke in there.
So what other loans have you been doing recently, the most of?
Those are really the ones I talked about, my real bread and butters lately. The 15% down, no PMI. Bridge loans, closed a few of those in the last couple of months. But really, I'd say, surprisingly, I have done a large amount of Ohio Housing Finance Agency's
I was
first-time
gonna
homebuyers bond loans.
I was gonna ask you about the OFA because you about a month ago found a nice little smooth way to utilize that.
Yeah, there's a few of them. So, surprisingly, I've been doing a lot of those loans, and there's such a fantastic program for anybody who wants to learn about it. I usually guide them to their website, which is myohiohome.org. But, it's known for its down payment assistance programs and for the bond program, which is basically that. But you can sometimes use Ohio Housing Finance Agency without down payment assistance. And occasionally their interest rates are a little lower than where conforming rates are. So you have to go through a few extra steps. Home buyer's education, you have to make sure you don't make too much money. You still got to meet those guidelines. But yeah, it's... I'm finding that in today's environment, with the challenges that we're facing, one of the biggest challenges, especially for the young buyers, is having money for the down payment. You have to say, with our values and our prices going up as much as they are,
as quickly as they are,
and as quickly as they are, a $400,000 house is almost an entry-level home, as frightening as that sounds, or an average-priced home. So when you're talking about having to have a sizable amount of money to get into that home, or even a $300,000, $250,000 house, doesn't matter. You still got to have well over 10 grand typically to get into that house. And that's proving to be difficult in today's day and age. Call it a number of reasons. It could be the rent, is so much that they can't save money. It could be student loan debt. It could be a lot of reasons. So the Ohio Housing Finance Agency providing that down payment assistance is a fantastic tool for younger people to get into a house who have good credit, good job, but just don't have the means to save enough for a down payment and closing costs. Great program.
Yeah, it's crazy. Our average price is quickly becoming $400,000.
Correct. I mean, a good, nice starter home in an area that everyone would be excited to live in 10 years ago was $195,000.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
And, if you're putting 20% down on that, that's, $39,000. It's just crazy.
Right, to avoid the PMI. So that's exactly right. So that's why this program exists, to get people into homes with little money out of their pocket. So that's another one I've been using a lot. And
I do love that program.
I have a couple of them right now that I'm working on. One that's closing on Monday, as a matter of fact, is a USDA loan.
I like those too.
Those are also great loans for anybody who's looking outside of the city. Outside of 270. You go out 20 miles in each direction, you're going to basically find any area that's eligible for USDA.
That used to be right on the Delaware-Lewis Center border, and then they moved it.
And the same goes with Marysville.
Yeah.
But it's a true 100% financing loan. So there's no down payment. All you have is the closing costs. And if you get creative with that, you can have people getting into homes with almost no money out of their pocket.
I've had someone close and get money back.
Yeah. I think that was with me, wasn't it?
It was years ago, but
okay.
Literally because it was my condos at Cheshire.
Yeah. Okay, then that wouldn't have been me. But yeah, you can get up to your appraisal money back. So if you paid $500 or $550 for an appraisal, and you get to the closing, and the sellers are paying all your closing costs, if it covers everything, you can get your appraisal money back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's neat. There's some little nuances about that. So those are the programs in a nutshell, though, that I've been using fairly regularly year to date.
Okay. So if someone wanted to get a hold of you to pick your brain on what loan they should use, how do they do that?
They do that one of two different ways. They can call me anytime.
Call us first.
Call them first, and they can refer them to me. They can refer you to me. Okay, yeah. Or if you happen to call me first, I'll refer you to them. How's that? So yeah, call Shannon, Mike, or Slavi, and they'll get in touch with me. But my email address is michaelbeatty @howardhanna.com. Beatty is Beatty.
Yeah, and I still think they should do Mike Beatty at Howard Hanna, but what do I know?
I know.
But anyhow,
you keep trying for that.
I know, I will. But anyhow, thanks for listening and watching us today, and or watching, I guess I should say. We appreciate it. And as always, remember to follow us on your social media platforms at Shannon Grimm Realtor and
at 614 Real Estate Nerds. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.